Alrighty, we are looking at code.org, Unit 2, Lesson 10. This is our very first lesson on CSS, which stands for Cascading Style Sheet. It allows us to take our websites that we've made and, just play around with HTML, except make it more stylish, right? That's why it's called a style sheet. So we're looking at bubble 2 right now. We're going to go over 2 bubbles for today and then give you a chance to try finishing up the rest of the bubbles afterwards. So let's read through the directions here first, and then we'll look into it. So adding style. This web lab project is using a new language to add style to the page. With a partner, well, you're on your own. Maybe you want to screen share with a person over FaceTime or Discord or something like that. With a partner on your own, or, watching this video with me, follow along on yours, tab back and forth. Explore both the index.html file and the style.css files, and be ready to discuss the following questions. And we'll go through these questions together. What changes is this new language is making to the page? How is this language different from HTML? And how are index.html and style.css files connected? So let's get rid of the instructions here for a second and look at these two. So first of all, right now I'm on index.html. Here's our plain old index, right? Except there's something a little bit different. Up until this point, we've always said totally stay away from the head, right? It's not where your headers go. It's a special place. Here's our first time seeing what we do with the head. Before we go to that, though, let's look at the body. So in the body, I have header 1. We're about to learn a new language. Header 2, and it's going to help us add style. And then header 1 again, but how does it work? And if we look over here, you can even see as I was highlighting those, it was highlighting these over here. This, we're about to learn a new language, is in blue and on the left side. Then the H2 is in red and pushed to the right side. And then blue again, maybe it's not the left, maybe it's centered, right? Which is, again, a header 1. But in this HTML file, we only did H1, H2, and H1. Before we learned CSS, this just seemed like all it should do is just make header 1 should be the biggest, header 2 should be a little bit smaller but still a big title. It said nothing about changing where it's aligned or making it blue. And now this is where this new thing inside of my head comes in. This is my link to my style sheet. So here's a new little command in your HTML. It has to be in your header. And this references back to your CSS page. So your style sheet, you can link to in the HTML on the web page, and it will tell your website when it's looking through the HTML how to style it. So you got to say link. The relationship is that it has to be a style sheet, letting it know, all right, well, this link is going to be to telling me what it's going to style like. And then the href is going to be to your style sheet, style.css. What this means, and we'll see this in later lessons, is you can actually have multiple style sheets in a project, and different HTML pages can reference different style sheets and do different things. All right, let's look at the style sheet really quick. Clicking over here to look at the style sheet. Now this looks totally different. There's no greater than, less than signs for my tags. There's no start and close. It's got, now this looks a little familiar, right? H1, whoops, what did I do? H1 looks like that header 1 is just not inside those brackets. Now I have an open squiggly brace, and you can see below I see a closed squiggly brace that matches with it. And inside of those, first of all, I'm indented like we've seen before. And then I've got this stuff. When I'm with H1, it says the color will be blue and the text align will be center. And if you notice, these two guys that were H1, the H1 we're about to learn a new language, and H1, but how does it work? They were blue and they were aligned to be in the center of my page. My style sheet again then says, for any H2, the text align, oof, I don't like this, let's indent. Boom, much better, right? For header 2s, it says, all right, here's my rule for header 2. That's going to all be between these two brackets. the text align should be to the right. What the heck? Why does it keep doing that? The text align should be to the right, and the color should be red. And so in my HTML, the H2 tag, and it's going to help us add style, is aligned to the right, and it's red. So what your style sheets do is they take different tags within your HTML and alters them to have more things. There's much more than just color and align, and we'll see that as we keep learning CSS. But at the very least now we're able to change the color of our words, and we're allowed to change where they are on the web page. It's aligned to the center or aligned to the right. So that's pretty cool, right? This is the very start of CSS. So you have your HTML page. It's linked to your style sheet inside of the head area of your HTML file. And then in your style sheet, it describes, all right, if I'm an H1, here's some extra, properties of the H1s. Not only is H1 going to be bigger, but they're also going to be blue and they're going to be aligned center. Anything that's H2 is going to also be bigger again, but it's going to be red and aligned to the right. And so let's just see another little example here. Let's play around. If I make another H2 and say testing and close the H2, it should be red and aligned to the right, because since I made an H2, it's red and to the right, and that's due to the fact that my style sheet says any H2 that you make is to the right and red. I think I'm going to pause the video there. I don't want to go too crazy. I'll do bubble 4 in a separate video.